Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so in the last video, what we were talking about was this potential of a W, X, and a Y, and this is still my primary count that I'm keeping an eye on here. Now, there is a couple of ways that we can still read this. We could actually still be potentially within this X wave, as we talked about in the previous video. If we are looking at the comparison to this W wave, we can see that we've actually achieved one-to-one with this previous W wave. However, what we could actually see, if this is becoming a more complex move here, what we could see is price actually still look to develop to the upside here, looking for this move to either be A, B, and C, looking for this as a flat correction, or alternatively, it could also just be a W, X, and a Y. Though the fact that we've actually taken this low here makes it more likely that it will be a flat if we are going to see this. The problem is at the moment we still don't have good structure to the upside here for an impulse. So what I'm looking for within this is that effectively we could actually still be within a B wave here. So we're going to go over that in a second here. Alternatively, what we could have had is just a smaller X wave over here, and we could have this as an A, this as a B, and then we're looking for this as a C wave to the downside. Now the problem that I have with this is because of the structure here, it wouldn't make a lot of sense unless we're looking at forming something like a diagonal here. We would get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this would be looking to form a contracting wedge pattern to the downside here. Now once again, it's not my preferred count because of the fact of how the structure is developing over here. I would have preferred to see a simple zigzag here if this is actually looking for a diagonal. So this is why I'm thinking we're still within the B wave. However, if we are looking to actually break down for this move and we're looking for this one-to-one, this could actually look to bring us down towards this 24,229. We also do have this target box area here towards the zone of this 24,821 to this 24,688. Now this would actually bring us into the level here where we are actually looking at coming back into this channel potentially. So we'll keep an eye on this. If we do see an interaction here directly below where we're currently sitting, we have this zone of this 24,630, which would actually be a retest of this bottom channel here and this bottom channel here. So I would be keeping an eye on these two areas if we do see price look to break down. Now if we were arguing that we are within that Y wave, what we'd be saying is that we're looking at this as A, B, and then looking for this as a C wave to the downside. Now once again, because of the current structure here, it's hard to count this as a 5-wave pattern because we do have overlap here. So it is possible this could still be 1, 2, 1, 2, in which case we could actually see this C wave extend out a little bit, and we will go over that potential count, which would actually be looking at this doing something along these lines where this would be 1, 2, 1, 2. And now the problem that I have with this is that this would actually look to bring us down potentially quite deep and quite close to this 1618 here of this 22,733. Now if we did see a move past this 27,733, this would actually mean it's more likely that we are actually within a bigger impulsive structure from further back here. So we need to be aware of that count as a possibility. However, if we did actually see a 5-wave move to the downside where we start to break down in a bigger wave here, what we could actually see is a move down towards this 1618 here of this 23,987. Moving down towards this zone in a 5-wave move would indicate that we have this 3rd wave in play, in which case we'd be looking for a 4th and a 5th, which would actually look to bring us down towards this 23,791 to this 23,485. And then what we'd be looking for with that would be the potential of an additional 4th and a 5th, which could actually look to push us down towards this 23,430 to this 23,039 area. So being on the lookout for this. This is valid for as long as we actually stay below this point here of this 26,783 area. So we need to just be aware of that potential here where we could see this actually start to reject, where we just look at this as a 1, 2, because we've actually come all the way up here pretty much to the 786, not quite onto it, but we need to just be aware that we have actually had quite a deep retracement here. So if we do start to move down in 5 waves and we start to take this low and we start to see volume picking up on this move to the downside, it would be more likely that we're actually looking for this as a 3rd wave to the downside. So we need to be on the lookout for that. Now once again, like I said, that 1-to-1 target is over here at this 24,411, and if I just come in here and actually turn on this 1236 and this 1382, what we can see is the 1236 is here at this 23,756 and the 1382 is here at this 23,360 level. So I would be keeping an eye on this if we do start to break down deeper here. Now the alternate way we could argue is that we are actually still within the X wave here. And now what I'd be looking for here would actually be the fact that we're still forming this as an A, this is a B, and then looking for this as a C. Now this could actually still mean that we have downside to come in here, and what we'd then be looking for is the potential that this could actually be W, this could be X, and then we could be looking for A, B, and C here, where if we just see a single 5-wave move to the downside, this could actually tie into that idea of coming back down into these lows. Now what I would want to see for this would effectively be the same idea here, that instead of this being an A wave, would actually be looking at this as a W wave. This would be our X wave here, and then potentially looking for the C wave. Now this could actually still play out even if we did see another move to the upside, something like this. The problem is, what I would want to see here is that if this is an A wave and this is a B wave, I'd like to see this B wave end pretty soon, because if we have a look here in the comparison, as this is an A wave looking for this B wave, what we'd want to see is somewhere near this yellow line here, which would be this 1-to-1 towards the 15th of June as a 1-to-1 target, though we have actually met the minimum requirement by coming past this 0.618. Now what I want to see here is there is the potential is that we could just say that this is W, X, and Y, but what we need to see is actually a bigger turnaround to the upside, and we haven't got that yet. You know, potentially as long as we hold this low over here of this 25,368, we could start to build something to the upside, but I am just being mindful that this could just be a connector wave here. Now if this is just a connector wave here, what we could actually see is something along these lines here, and we would be looking at that possibility that this is an A wave looking for a B wave to the upside, and then looking for the C wave to the downside. Now if we do look to actually maintain below this 27,391, what we could actually see then is price start to fall down towards this lower range here of this 24,636. Now this would actually be a C wave to the downside. What we would want to see here is a 5-wave move developing to the downside for confirmation of this. Now this could potentially bring us back into these channels, as well as this target box area that we talked about. However, there is also the potential that if this is a B wave, we might not be complete. And looking at this in a channel in this way, what we could actually argue here is that potentially we could see one more move to the upside for this B wave. Now the way that I would be looking at this would be looking at this internal piece here as A, B, C, D, and E as a triangle, and then we could actually have this as an ABC. So this would actually be looking at this move here as a potential W, X, and a Y. Now what we'd be looking for within this would actually be 3 waves up for W, this as a X wave triangle, and then looking for this as A, B, and C. Now this would be valid for as long as we continue to hold this X wave, which would be here at this 25,818. And what we could actually see is price look to reverse back to the upside here, looking for the C wave. So this C wave 1-to-1 is actually over here at this 26,513, and this would actually be looking to bring us back into this channel. So this is why I'm keeping an eye on this. This would be quite interesting. It would also potentially put us back into the range of this swing high over here. So I would be keeping an eye on this if we do see price move up there. As well as that, would bring us back here into the golden pocket, which is sitting here towards this 26,662 to this 26,596 area. So there's a little bit of confluence within this zone that if we did see price actually look to push back to the upside here, we could see an interaction again with this channel line here, and then potentially see that possibility of a rejection. So at the moment, like I said, there isn't really anything here that I'm seeing that's impulsive. We could argue that within here we have something like this is a 1-2, this is another 1-2 here, but once we start to break lows, you know, this starts to fall apart. So what I'd want to see is that if this is looking to actually develop into that 5-wave move, we'd be looking for this to actually, you know, start to get some legs to the upside. At the moment, I am still treating it as corrective. Now, another way that we could argue that this is played out is that we could also say that potentially this Y wave is completed here. It would have been very short in comparison to this as a W wave in time. This is why I'm thinking that if this is a Y wave up, we could still actually have another leg. Now the typical zone we'd be looking for would be this 26,513 given our current level. If, however, we do look to actually move back down here towards this yellow box area and the bottom of this channel, what it could mean is that we've actually got a completed move into this high, and then this would actually become an A wave, we see a B wave, and then we look possibly for a C wave back to the upside. So this would actually still look to potentially come back up here and retest this orange target box. The difference within this is that instead of this move actually just going like this, where this is WX and we get ABC, what this could mean is we see this as an A wave, we see this as a 3-wave move back down here, and then another 3-wave move to the upside if it's going to be WXY, or a 5-wave move if it's going to be a C wave. So if we do continue to look to move up here, I would be keeping an eye on this zone here of this 26,943 to this 26,596 area. Now really, until we actually cross this 25,351, this idea is still alive, where we are looking for that potential that we could have this as an A, B and a C. Now within this count, what we would be looking for is that potential to see a push to the upside in a 5-wave move. At the moment, there really isn't anything indicating this to me. We could potentially try and argue that we're forming some kind of a diagonal here, but the structure really isn't great. Now, what we could say is that we could have something like this as 1, 2, this is 3, looking for this as a 4th and then a 5th. But what we'd want to see is basically a contracting wedge pattern form here. And then we'd be looking for this as potentially an A wave or a wave 1. Now, if we did get something like this, where we actually see this low hold here, and we look to push to the upside again in a 3-wave move, we could form a diagonal here, in which case that could tie in with that idea that this could be a 1, 2, and then we'd be looking for that bigger 3rd wave to the upside. But we don't really have good structure to call it a diagonal at this point. I really would like to see another push to the upside. Now, invalidation of this would actually come by crossing this low point here of this 25,657. Crossing this low over here would invalidate that potential. Now, if we do see that play out, we'll be looking for that 3-wave move and then maintaining this low. What we need to be cautious of is that, like I said, we still have that possibility where this is WX and this is A, B and a C. So if we see a 5-wave move to the upside here, what we could then actually get is this as a Y wave completed. So we're going to have to keep an eye on how exactly the structure forms here. We do need to keep an eye on this and just be mindful that we still have that potential to break to the upside directly. But really, this structure is not giving me a lot of confidence at the moment. We need to see it develop into something that is more trustworthy. So if we did see this actually form this as a WX and a Y, what I'd still be on the lookout for would be this B wave actually being in play. And then we could actually start to see a 5-wave move to the upside. Within the bullish count, what we could argue, if we see this complete down here, would be that this is WX and Y, and then we could be looking for a much bigger move to the upside. But what we also need to be aware is that if we do just get a 5-wave move off the back of this as a corrective move, we need to just see whether this actually manages to hold this low. Losing this low would confirm that we have a flat in place here, and would actually mean that we have this move developing out, where this would then become W, this would become X, and then we'd get a bigger Y wave to the downside still to play. Or alternatively, it could even be A, B, and then we see a 5-wave move to develop at that point. So we're going to have to just be on the lookout for more indications of which way we are going with this. Now, having a look at the weekly CPR lines, what we can see is that we did actually come back up here and we did reject off this top line. Now, what I want to see here is if price continues to reject to the downside here, we could actually see a move down towards this zone of this 25k region, which will actually be a retest of this R1 line. Alternatively, if we see that more bearish situation where this is a 1-2 and we're looking for a deeper move, what we could actually see is this R2 line getting tested at this 24,176, or even potentially this R3 line getting tested here towards this 23k region. So be keeping an eye on those target areas if we do look to push down. Once again, however, if we do start to look to push to the upside, what I'd be on the lookout for is that if we do manage to break above these CPR lines, what we could then see is price actually be gravitated towards this S1 line here at this 27k region, this S2 line here at this 28,271, and the S3 line, which is sitting up here towards this zone, this 29,140. Now, this would actually look to bring us up into this X wave target box that we've got here as a potential rejection area. So we need to keep an eye on these levels if we see price actually moving to the upside. Now, on to the monthly CPR, what we can see is that we have currently hold this R1 line as support, and we are looking to potentially move up here. Now, if we continue to hold this zone and we actually hold these two lows that we got here, what we could see is price be gravitated towards these central CPR lines again here, and these would be here towards this 27,409 and this area here of this 27,824. If we did see price move to the upside here, I'd be very interested to see how we react within this channel area that would tie into that idea of this being an A, B, and a C, actually looking to bring us up into these highs. Now we also have some Ichimoku clouds which are sitting in this location, so this would actually be a very interesting area if we did look to push to the upside like this. Having a look at the hourly Ichimoku cloud here, what we can see is that we've actually come through this. We got a rejection and we look to break back down. We are currently finding support here, however, on this bottom of the cloud towards this 25,919. What I want to see here is if price actually manages to hold this support zone, what we could actually see is price starting to move away from this and looking to actually get back above this cloud. If we do move back up here, I would be looking for that potential to actually back test this and find support before looking to move away from this area. So that would still tie into that idea of this being an A, this being a B, seeing a C wave to the upside, and then potentially looking for that breakdown afterwards. Looking at the 4-hourly cloud, we can see that we actually rejected off of this conversion line here towards this 26,405. Now what I want to see here is we've actually found support temporarily on this conversion line. If we do manage to hold this level as a support zone, what we could see is that potential to see price move back up here and potentially look to interact with this bottom of this cloud, which would be here towards this 26,536. This would be bringing us back into this high potentially, and then if we did see price extend out slightly, we could see a move up here towards this 26,897 area. So I would be keeping an eye on that, because that ties into that idea of actually seeing this move push up towards this 786 area here of this 26,949. So I'd be keeping an eye on those levels if we do actually see price move up into that zone. As well as that, if we come here onto the 8-hourly, what we can see is we've got a rejection off the conversion line and we have moved back down. Now we do have that lower cloud support sitting within this zone, so potentially what we could see is that we could find support on some of those levels and then see price be gravitated back to the upside here. So the baseline is actually sitting back here towards this 27k region, which I would be keeping an eye on if we do see that move to the upside. That would tie in with that idea that this is an incomplete correction before looking down. Alternatively, what we could actually see here is that if we do see price push to the upside, we could see a move into the cloud, which would be here towards this 27,323 to the top end here, which would be towards this 27,952. So I'd be keeping an eye on this, particularly with that idea that this is an A, B, and a C, that if we saw this bigger move up here, we could actually look to retest this before looking for a continuation to the downside. On the daily here, what we can see is we are within the cloud, and what I want to see is if we do see that price push to the upside, once again at this level of this 26,917, we also have this conversion line here. So if we see price actually look to push up here, and this is not a completed move where this is W, X, and Y, sorry, A, B, and C rather, what we could then see is that possibility to see a push to the upside here, looking for a rejection here. If however we do look to push down one more time here, I would be keeping an eye on this zone of this 25,277, as this would be a retest of the daily cloud. As well as that, you know, if we do look to push down a little bit lower than that, we do have a retest of some of these high points, so I'd be keeping an eye on that level if we do, you know, come back down into these zones. So pretty much between this area here, this 25,257 all the way down here towards this lower range of this 24,441. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.